Right everybody, welcome back to episode 51 of What the Devil on the United View YouTube channel. I'm Dylan from United District and today we're joined by Nadir again and Firmz.
Welcome.
First time speaker on the podcast. It's lovely to have you here.
I appreciate it, guys.
And we're going to talk about the dreaded, terrible club that is Man United, who we all love and hate every day of the week. But remember, if you are, listening on the go or whatever, and you can't watch the YouTube video, remember we are on Spotify and Apple Podcasts as well. The links are in the descriptions below. But we're going to get started today by talking. Normally we do this at the end of the podcast. We talk about, the games coming up. But I feel like the biggest thing this week is the lead up to the Spurs game, aside from the whole sacking thing, Ratcliffe thing, which we'll get into later. But it's the Spurs match. So this is the longest period Amorim's had with the team. It's pretty much a full 7 days training with the team for the first time since he came in. And there are definitely a lot of issues. I'd say issues. He's got dilemmas that he needs to think about and solve for the game. For example, who replaces Lisandro Martinez? Where does Dorgu start? Who should, play up front? Because I think up front is also especially the one it's the worst one because it's the one that seems to have no good answers. So I just want to we need to go through. I've only just noticed, Nad, on your jumper that the Nike tick's upside down.
It's meant to be like that.
No. I assume it is, but that's really thrown me.
Random time to pick it up.
You just put your stop on upside down.
No, I was just kind of like, but the hood's still there.
Spinning logo.
That really threw me. But so it's talking about the strikers. I'm a big fan and advocate. I was looking into the stats of our two strikers, Rasmus Højlund and Joshua Zirkzee. So Højlund's not scored in 14 games. And what I didn't realise is against Leicester, that was also Zirkzee's first goal in 12. But only 4 of those 12 games he started, and one of them was the Newcastle game where he came off for half an hour. I don't know if it's a case of Amorim actually just prefers Højlund even though he's not scoring, but I don't get why Zirkzee can't get a run of games now starting against Spurs.
I feel like Amorim prefers Højlund. It even came in Athletic. He prefers strikers who make runs in behind. Even though I feel like Zirkzee has been better for us and he connects with our 10s better, especially Ahmad. Like the 1-2s they have, it's much better compared to when you see like Ahmad trying to play off Højlund. Because I rate Højlund. I don't think he's as bad as people have made him out to be, but his first touch needs some serious work. Because at times the ball is bouncing off him like a trampoline or something. Like it's a serious.
But that's not always been the case, which is what I find weird about Højlund. Is that he's not always had this trampoline.
I agree
touch.
with
He
you.
was good in his first season.
Yeah. It's something that just happened recently. Like I don't even get why. Because he's been rested. It's not like he gets overplayed or something. Like he's getting rest. Like it doesn't make sense. But it's clearly not working with him at the moment. Like he's not clicking with our players. It's not working for the team. He's not scoring. And like you said about Zirkzee, he scored more recently. He clicks well with our players. Even though I know he doesn't make the runs in behind, I feel like he allows more like for example, Ahmad does better with Zirkzee. Bruno, when he played as a left end with Zirkzee, he did better. Garnacho does well with Zirkzee. So I feel like overall for the team, I agree with you, Zirkzee does deserve a run. But it is a thing of him not being Amorim's type of striker.
Do you think, therefore, that he may not really actually have a proper future? I know this is obviously a longer-term question, but if he's not the type of striker that Amorim likes, what is he not going to stay here then, do you think?
I feel like that could be the case because we're linked with a striker. It's been well reported we want a new striker. So I feel like we would have to sell one of Højlund and Zirkzee. I don't see us keeping 3 first-team strikers, especially with Chiro coming up as well. I feel like that's a bit too much. So I feel like if we had to sell a striker, we might even sell Zirkzee, even though we rejected offers in January. But I could see us selling him in summer, biting the bullet.
That would be a bad decision if it was up to me.
I agree with you though. I'll kind of like Zirkzee. Even if not as a striker, he could do a job as a left end as well, or right end.
I think he's just got to take, we've got to take our time with him because there is, as much as he's had some really poor performances, I would say in the poor performances he's had, he's not necessarily done things wrong. He's just not done anything. Yeah. And when he so against Leicester, for example, he did look good. I thought he with the ball at his feet, especially there was that little moment. There was nowhere near the goal. The little moment where he dribbled past 3 players, megged one, and then passed the ball on. I think he's got something, but I really want to see what it is.
Yeah, look, same way with me. I think the problem with Amorim, he's looking at Rasmus Højlund, and I think he's seeing Gyökeres in his head.
The idea of Højlund is much better to him.
I think he's looking at the profile of Gyökeres and thinking, if I can get everything to work, Rasmus could become that Gyökeres for me.
Yeah.
Because his philosophy was all about getting the ball to Gyökeres at Sporting. He wanted to get his wing backs, his full backs, everyone should just get that ball into the box, put in the space where Gyökeres is lurking, and he's going to put the ball in the net. And with Rasmus, when you look at him, like you said, I don't know, it took a deep dive recently, but it's like, when I look at him, the basics that Zirkzee is bringing to us is what we're craving for. Man United fans are not praising Zirkzee because he's scoring 1 million goals a game. We're praising Zirkzee because he's holding up the ball and he's allowing other players to push up forward. He's allowing our defence to get up a yard. He's allowing the fullbacks to get up a yard. You know, he's bringing other people into play. And with Rasmus Højlund, whether we go long ball or whether we play the ball to him to feet, it keeps bouncing off. And it's a challenge with us because we're under so much immense pressure with the high turnovers and everything like that. If he can't hold on to that ball, protect it and lay it off, it's going to cause big issues for us. And you know, when we was on the whole striker hunt before, I was like, oh, I'd really love Kane. And then people would be like, oh no, he's too old or blah, 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 blah. For me, it was like, he's got all the attributes I need.
100%, I agree with that.
Agreed.
Do you know what I mean? He can get you 20 goals in a season. He can also protect that ball, hold it up, drawing a foul. He can also lay off the ball. He can come deep. He can get an assist here and there. I feel like that's the type of profile, type of forward that we need. Which is, so I'm liking what Zirkzee's doing. But yeah, I just feel like, obviously the next step will be him adding goals to his game more.
You know what, I think the thing that Zirkzee's suffering from the most out of anything is Zirkzee looks at his best when we are playing intense football. And we only start playing intense football when we're 1-0 down in the 70th minute. And that's when we keep taking him off. Yeah. So I feel like Zirkzee plays his best football, you know, when it's, I feel like, because he's obvious, it's clear, he's quick. He's
very quick.
With ball at his feet and mentally. He knows kind of where people are on the pitch. We were speaking about this before, just before you start recording. He knows people are on the pitch. A bit like Bruno Fernandes, he can. I feel like he can see the pitch a lot more than someone like Højlund or Garnacho maybe could, or Rashford. And so we're playing our best football when we're playing our most intense football, which is towards the end of the games because we're so lax before games. That's a whole other issue in itself. And when we're starting Zirkzee and then he's not performing, but then he's performing well off the bench, it's like kind of, well, because it's almost when we start him, we're not playing the kind of football we need, and we only play the football we need when the situation demands it, when we're 1-0 down against Leicester, when we're conceding last-minute goals against Rangers, when we're trying to get from 3-0 down against Spurs, trying to get back. He scored in the other game he scored was against Spurs in North London, which is where we're playing them on Sunday. And I feel like Zirkzee deserves to be given the chance to play full 90s. Maybe he can't, I don't know. Maybe he can't play full 90s, but I think he's suffering from the fact that we're not playing intense football enough. So when he's trying to play this really quick football and all our players are being really slow and lethargic and indecisive on the ball, he looks like he's misplacing passes because he's playing the passes where they should be going and the players aren't being in the positions that they should be. So he looks like he keeps losing possession. He looks like he keeps making the wrong runs. But I think he's more than not making the right decisions and everyone else around him is actually making wrong decisions.
So do you think it's there's been talk about tweaking, Amorim needing to tweak. And obviously you said that he's been playing a lot of his best football when we're down or when we're trying to chase a game. And usually that happens with us bringing in like other attacking players. So we're getting more people into the box than we need to. And then obviously Zirkzee has more options. When he's lifting his head up, he's looking to the left, he's looking to the right. He's able to put through a ball and someone's obviously going to collect it. Do we need to be starting that way? Is that breaking this Amorim sort of philosophy? Is it deviating too much from that way?
No, because I think the reason we're not playing as that way is because the players aren't playing with enough urgency. It doesn't matter what formation you're playing. If your players aren't playing with urgency and playing like you want to win, then it doesn't matter if we're playing a 3-4-3, if we're playing a 3-5-2, if we're playing a 4-3-3, if we're playing whatever. It's not going to work because the players aren't playing like that until they're forced to, which is when we're 1-0 down, which is when we're 2-0 down, and we've got no choice but to play like that.
I swear even
that's where I think
said
it goes wrong.
He was asked about this in a post-match interview, and he's like, we don't even know why this is happening. Like, we obviously want to fix it, but we don't know why this is happening. Because Maguire was asked the exact same thing, I think, after the Leicester match, and And he's like, I wish I had an answer. If we did, like, we would have worked on it. But like, he even like spoke about needing to pick up the tempo from the first minute, which we're struggling to do. So
they don't. Yeah, they don't pick it up until they need to. Well, they need to from the start, but they don't pick up until they have no other choice.
I feel like this has been an issue, like even way before Amrib, even under Ten Hag, this used to happen a lot.
Before that, look, I was doing a bit of like, you know, every manager that has managed Manchester United, go and check it. There's always articles that come out, and it's happening about Amorim about his training tactics. They're querying it now.
Yeah.
Under Moyes, it was the same thing. They were querying it, saying that it's like prehistoric type of training. The same thing happened with Ralph Rangnick when he came with the 4-2-2 gang press. They said they weren't really liking that. Obviously, you saw it with Erik ten Hag and his philosophies as well. They didn't buy into that. It's a consistent theme of players coming out and saying they don't like the training. And what was interesting as well is with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, when he came in and took over Manchester United, the first thing he alluded to was, we need to get the fitness up. We need to get the intensity up. Fast forward, Erik ten Hag, what was he doing? Doing running drills with these players when we got absolutely annihilated, right? And then he took them out and he ran with them, right? What are we hearing from Amorim?
Is fitness, yeah.
Intensity.
Fitness, intensity. It's a consistent theme that's going on from day one. It's a consistent theme with players looking at these managers and thinking, I can't be asked to do what you want me to do in terms of run whatever for full 90 minutes. This is why we're always in a situation where our best football has come from counter-attacking football. It's come from on the break. It's come from transitions, because that's the only way we know how to really play. We can't go out and press for 90 minutes. You can go out and press for 15 minutes. That's why you'll probably, or like you said, something kicks in where adrenaline takes over, what that mentality is or is not there. Like you look at a Pep team, for example. You see how Pep is on the pitch, on the sidelines.
Yeah.
Whether he's 2-3-0 up, he's scratching his face off. Do you know, he's really like, everything gets to him. He's instilled that sort of intensity and fear in each one of his players, that it doesn't matter what the scoreline is. I'm going to be on it. I'm going to kill off the game. I'm going to play like I'm losing 3-0. And we ain't got that, because if we score one, we fall off, we chill, we're relaxed. We're
we've scored 30 goals in 20 games under Amorim. It's not enough goals.
And we haven't even scored in the first half in like how many games?
Oh my God, yeah. It's about 9 or 10 weeks now since we last scored from open play in the first half. I've been tracking it because I've been waiting to write an article about it once we do. And I keep drafting it being like, Manchester United finally break 10-week record. We still haven't done it. I've done it for like 4 weeks now. Literally, our only goal in the first half was the penalty against Brighton when we lost 3-1. And before that, it was when we lost 3-1 to Forest on the 7th of December. You just don't, there is no first half urgency. It's Spurs, I think, are the best team to try to play against. Actually, to try and get rid of it, because I just want to bring it back to the game. Is they do play with just like this insane Ange football with their derelict squad that doesn't have anyone over the age of 17 playing at the moment, it feels like. And I feel like this game is a really good chance for United to actually get on the front foot. But against Spurs, last time we played them in the Carabao Cup, we didn't. We were 2-0. We were 1-0 down after half time and 3-0 down after 55 minutes. Then we kicked into gear in the 60th minute and scored twice. Admittedly, one of that was Ahmad being Ahmad. And then Zirkzee scored. This is what I mean. Like Zirkzee then scores because we're playing a slightly more higher intense thing of football. The striker thing, I just think is ridiculous. But I also want to ask about who you guys want to see replace Martinez. Martinez obviously is out for 6 to 8 months with an ACL. He's absolutely finished until the end of this year, and we brought in Aiden Heaven at left centre back, or potentially playing in midfield, whatever. But like he's not going to be starting 15 games for the end of the season. Because the person I want to put forward is Yoro. Because I thought Yoro was fantastic at left centre-back in the second. Because Masraoui started left centre-back against Leicester. But then Yoro was on the right, and they switched to half-time. And Yoro was amazing. He made like 88 passes with a 91% accuracy. He was playing out top. The one moment that Højlund had in that game, which was good, was when he spun someone, came from a Yoro pass. Yoro playing as an inverted centre-back, that kind of using his right
Right
foot to play the pass down the channel for Højlund to get in behind and spin, which is what he's good at. So I would say that Euro should be. I know he's 19 and we will kind of want to manage his minutes or whatever, but I think he should be starting most of our games at left centre back until the end of the season.
I agree with you. Same thoughts whatsoever. I feel like Euro as a left centre back is our best option for now, because Mazraoui even played there against Arsenal, if I remember correctly. Like, he looks way more comfortable on the right, playing as a right centre back, and like he's more comfortable inverting and whatnot. And Euro on the left just seemed way more of a natural fit. He was comfortable carrying the ball, and I think he spoke on Rio's podcast, he's comfortable playing as a left centre-back too, because I guess maybe he likes inverting or something like that. So I agree with you. Euro as left centre-back till Martinez is out. And I don't think Shaw is a real player at this point. He's a conspiracy theory.
It's a conspiracy.
Yeah. He didn't even come back and he got another setback. Like, I feel for the guy, but like, it is what it is. That's the harsh reality.
Yeah, I'd like Shaw is someone who, you know, if he was fit, I'd want him playing there, because he is left-footed. It gives those angles. And he's so bloody good on the ball. Yeah. But I don't trust him. I think I personally think he has to go in the summer.
Yeah.
He's a luxury we can't afford to have.
Yeah.
Because if we were an amazing team and then Shaw was able to start 20-25 games a season, I'd be like, fine, let's keep him. But we can't, because we need him and he can't be relied upon. So we have to get rid of him completely and find someone.
And he's also 100%. One of the highest paid fullbacks in the world, I think. He's on 200k or something.
He's on 200.
Yeah, he's on some crazy money.
Yeah.
That's the thing. I think INEOS is already thinking ahead. You know, we've got that Leon guy from South America. Yeah. Obviously, Dogu's coming, and there's talks of Quenda coming in. You know, which is probably going to provide more competition for that fullback. But I think I would probably like to say Euro as well, playing in that position as well. Look, we brought him in. I think we were really trying to do the good thing and trying to ease him in gradually and slowly. But as you have it at Manchester United, that just never happens. You never get the opportunity to just ease in these days. Euro's going to be put under immense pressure, and he's already felt a bit of the baptism of fire. He's already been, you know, felt the speed and the physicality of some of our forwards in the Premier League. And I think, but it's going to be good for him. I think it will be good for him, and I think he's gonna learn a lot from it. But definitely, he needs to be that guy. And as soon as we can get Mazraoui as well, providing another centre-back cover, that'll be ideal, because I think he's best football. Him and Martinez, when they're playing at centre-back, provided another creative outlet as well.
Oh,
which
100%.
Euro, that he doesn't have that yet. He might be able to have the speed and the physics, you know, but he doesn't have that creative outlet. When Mazraoui was there pinging balls over the top, Martinez was doing the same. You know, people will be able to run onto that ball. I like that. And we've missed that since, you know, Mazraoui has been fullback. So as soon as we can get him back there, I would love him to be. I'll even have him over Euro.
What, our left centre back?
Yeah.
Because I think Mazraoui is so good at right centre back
that
we shouldn't be using him anywhere
right
else.
Centre back. He just looks a bit more awkward at left centre back. He doesn't play those like ping balls you're talking about on the left as compared to the right.
It's all from the right.
Yeah. So, and also like, so for example, when who did Højlund score that really nice goal against? Where he like controlled it in the air and then put it past.
That was in the Europa.
In the Europa, that came from a Mazraoui pass.
Yes.
When he was playing at right centre back.
Yep, and he pushed up in midfield.
So Leach has been pushing up loads.
Yeah.
That's why Leach has got 2 goals and an assist in 2025 before he kind of unfortunately passed away. It feels like.
That's a bit.
He's not here for now. It's sad, but Mazraoui can do that from the right, and if we have kind of like if the two left, if Leach was the one who was pushing forward while the other 2 centre backs stayed back, we can just swap the sides, and Mazraoui be the one that pushes up while Euro and Maguire or Euro and De Ligt stays further back. Because if we've then got Dorgu on the left pushing up as well, then we've got players kind of on both sides, I guess, pushing up. And again, Dorgu is the other thing I want to talk about was playing on the left, because when we played at Spurs Stadium in the Carabao Cup in, November or December, Bruno had so much space on that left-hand side. So I remember he had so much space because Porro was really tucking in. And if they're going to do that again, which I mean, I don't know if they've had many players back, and I'm assuming Porro will still start at their right centre-back. If we've got Dorgu on that left, and then Garnacho playing on that left 10 instead of Bruno, with maybe Bruno on the right 10 or Ahmed on the right 10, and that space is still there, we have to play Dorgu on that side. We
Yeah.
really, 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 I think, have to, especially against Spurs, because Dorgu can play both sides. I don't have massive qualms about Dorgu sometimes playing on the right,
Yeah.
if it's how Amorim feels is the best way to set the squad up. But against Spurs specifically, I really think I wanted to see him start,
Yeah.
and I want him to start on that left because there's just so much space when playing against Spurs, and that kid is quick.
Yeah.
He's really quick and he looks good on the ball.
Yeah.
Even I want him to start against Spurs, but I feel like it's going to be Mazraoui and Dalot as the wing backs, with Delict, Maguire and Euro playing as centre backs. I feel like Amorim's going to play it safe against Spurs. I have this gut feeling. And he usually does in big games as well.
But Spurs are also so, like, as they have been this season, they're so there for the taking.
But I feel like it's still like a big game like that. Amorim is probably going to play it safe.
But he was bought for the now, though, wasn't he?
He was, though, but I still feel like he's not going to start against Spurs. I'll be surprised if he does. That's how I'm going to put it.
Really?
Yeah.
But we score so few goals with those two.
I agree with you, but like I don't think Amorim is going to switch it off. Like, I'm not saying I want that to happen. I think that will happen. Like, I feel like it's going to happen.
No, fair enough.
Yeah.
I think he starts.
Dorgu? I'd be happy he does.
I think it's such a key position for Amorim. I think Amorim really pushed for that, for him not to start. Because, for him not to start Dorgu in a game like this, where there'll be a lot of space in
That's
behind.
what I'm saying. There's going to be space. There's going to be chaos.
Would be insane. So I look, it will raise a lot of question marks. It will raise a lot of, like, you already know. We played him on the right hand side. Look at all the noise that was coming out. If we don't play Dorgu in this game against Tottenham, in a game where there's so much space in behind, then that is equally going to raise more question, put a lot of pressure that he doesn't even need. And to be honest, what are we gambling over? I mean, if you take it, if you look at Mazraoui and Dalot, what's the big gamble? Do you know what I mean? It's not like to say we are replacing Dorgu with Alphonso Davies or Mendes. You know, we're not.
This is I'm just going to pile on here and add on you as well. Is I think the reason Amorim was, at least part of the reason was Amorim was, let's say, playing it safe before we're playing those two fullbacks, wing backs, is because he didn't have another choice, but he does now.
He does.
He now has the choice to play someone like Dorgu and then play Dalot right wing back, which is his more natural position, and play Mazraoui. So he can still play those two, play these players who are very solid and good defensively. But you now also have the option to play someone like Dorgu when you didn't before. I know because we had Ahmad would have been that option when we played last time, but I can't remember. Ahmad, he didn't start, did he?
Against
Spurs.
He got subbed on, I think.
So he
I think
he came on from
Garnacho
the
got a
bench.
start in that game because Garnacho was getting benched around that period, or maybe I'm tripping.
I can't remember, but either way, Amorim has been playing it safe. You're right. Again, these big games, but I think it's because he's not had another choice so far. But now he does because Dorgu's here. Dorgu's playing his part in the team. I know he's 20, and I don't think that Dorgu should be playing every game. Like, don't get me wrong, I don't think Dorgu should be playing every game before the end of the season. Because he is at the end of the day, he's only 20. He's come in as a signing rather than someone coming through the academy or whatever. So there's less. Like, he needs the immediate impact. But Spurs, I completely agree. He's got to be playing against Spurs.
I hope I'm wrong then. I really do. What about Kobe though? Do you think he's going to start or should start? Because that's another question mark too. Do you start him as a 10? Do you start him as a number 6?
I wouldn't start Kobe against Spurs because Spurs are so intense and athletic.
So you'd go with Ugarte and Bruno probably?
Probably. I'd go with, I'd go Garnacho left 10, Ahmad right 10, and then Bruno and Ugarte.
Yeah.
And then Zirkzee up top.
See, I like Ahmed right wing back.
I like him, but I don't think we can play Dorgu and Ahmad as both right wing backs against Spurs. That, I think, is too much. So I like Ahmad right wing back, I agree. But for this game,
you don't think?
I think we should have like that whole lopsided balance where Dorgu is slightly higher and then we've got Dalot slightly lower. And then still play Ahmad playing further up front. Because I'd want to see Ahmad and Dorgu playing as the two attacking players on either side. Ahmad on the right, Dorgu on the left, with Garnacho somewhere and Zirkzee somewhere. That sounds fun to me.
And that's when we play our best football when we've got the attackers on the pitch. Look, Tottenham's leaking goals. United's leaking goals. You know,
we're not scoring enough to try and outscore them.
This should be a game. If it's I'm looking at it, it should be an exciting game. You go all out and then see what happens. Because even when we try to play it safe, what safety have we got? Where's the safety come from?
No, you're right. You're right.
We're conceding like 2-3 goals a game. It's not. We need to. You know, when people talk about the tweaks, I think some of the tweaks will come from that. We just need to play the guys that are in form and just look. Ahmad right back, Dorgu left back, Garnacho left 10. Bruno in the midfield with Ugarte, whatever. Maybe Zirkzee and Rasmus.
Both of them.
So
To
you'd
be fair,
also
it has worked. He's done it a couple. He's done it a couple times.
So you'd also drop Kobe for this game then?
I'll probably drop Kobe for his game. I liked him in a 10.
Yeah.
I did like him in a 10, but for this game, I probably wouldn't play him there.
He shouldn't be playing every game anyway, man. He's a 19-year-old midfielder.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like we've forgotten about. Like people have forgotten about this. The kid's 19. He's a 19-year-old midfielder who is an incredibly good midfielder. But like how we've done with Euro, where Euro's not playing every single game, Kobe shouldn't be playing every single game. Garnacho, none of these players should be playing every single game.
Like I really think that Kobe can live up to the occasion. I think he can manage.
Oh, for sure.
It's just when I look at Tottenham with the intensity of what they play, it's gonna require a lot of like running, tracking back. When I look at guys like Zirkzee, they're pressing from the outset. They're running the full 90 minutes. You know, Rasmus Højlund, he does the same. You know, like Bruno and all of these guys I mentioned. Garnacho, they run. They can be able to track back. When I look at Mainu, with all the best will in the world, he might just not be able to catch up to he just might not be able to keep up with those quick transitions, those turnovers. He's going to be left in the lurch, and then.
And I don't think I don't necessarily think he should play this game if he's not playing in one of the 10s.
Yeah.
And I think that's fine. I think that's absolutely fine.
Yeah. That is valid. True.
Yeah. But I want to move on now to talking about the summer a bit because I was doing my usual, day-to-day, all the transfer stuff with United District. And I realised we are getting rid of a lot of players this summer. Like, it's going to happen. Rashford is he's gonna leave. Anthony's probably going to leave. We've got Eriksen's out of contract. Malassia's going to leave. Lindelof's out of contract. Casemiro's going to leave. Yeah. This is like 8 or 9 players who are going to be going this summer. Yeah. And United always have this window where we sign, maybe 4 or 5 players. We are actually going to have to sign about 7 or 8 players this summer. And I think we're going to hopefully have the funds for it because Rashford, let's say Villa do the
40 million buy
and the 40 million thing. We've got 25 mil coming in from Sancho because that's happening.
Malasia then 8.3 million.
Malasia is 8.3 million.
Yeah.
We've got Mason Greenwood's killing it with Marseille. Yeah. And if Marseille want to sell him this summer, we've got 50% sell-on clause. That might be another 20, 25, 30 million pounds. Yeah. And then whatever Casemiro would go for. And then also the wages saved on Lindelof, Eriksen.
And all these players were selling
and stuff,
and all the players were selling.
Like, as much as the January window was crap, and this is a massive if because INEOS have been INEOS and that's not a good thing. If we can get these kind of players out the door without waiting until the second last week of August, and the extra kind of cash from other places comes in, like the buyback clauses and the sell-on clauses and permanent clause. You know what I mean? There hopefully should be there should be money, and we're going to need to bring in these players. Like the Athletic have come in saying that we're not going to really look at Gyökeres. Osimhen's probably out of the picture. We might be looking at like younger strikers, for example, Liam Delap's being tracked, etc. But I really like this summer's going to be. Hopefully, because I feel it needs to be, is a bit of a madness one. There's going to be lots of movement. Because I don't think the club has a choice.
I think the good thing is there seems like there's tangible cash that's available. Whereas before we'll make these speculations and think, if we sell this person, that person, we could make this amount of money. But I think at least we can say we're getting a certain level of money from like Sancho or whatever like that that's moving on. And so there is a lot of players to replace. There is going to be a huge transfer window for us. Because like you said, you've listed about 6, 7, 8 players there that we're going to need replacements for.
They are. It's not really a case of they might. They are going to have to. There's no choice this time. This is what I think is different from the windows before. It's not like hopefully if we sell Casemiro, we might bring in someone. Like he's going. Rashford is going. Like these players are leaving. There's almost no 2 ways about it.
What's your thoughts on all of these players leaving? Do you feel like some of them should be getting contract renewals, extensions, or are you happy for the players that you've listed?
I think I'm happy for all of them leaving. Rashford is a bit tough one, but I feel like he needs a new club. Like it's the relationship between United and Rashford is done like that. Even though I still like Rashford, but like I feel like it's his chapter at United is done basically.
Yeah, it's like I feel like just with all the players listed, their times at United have just expired. Like whether that be because their contracts expired or because they're just not part of the system anymore. Like Casemiro just isn't part. Like he's just going to go. Like he's still got like 2 years left on his deal, but you know, his time at United has expired. He'll want to leave. Rashford will probably want to leave in the summer because there's no space for him under Amorim. The other players, the contracts are expiring, and so I wouldn't be. Rashford is the one player where if/when he goes, it's going to be like, shit, Rashford's going. Just because as I've grown up, kind of as a United fan, he's been one of the few players I've watched go academy, debut, everything, peak, all of that. I've watched it, so it'll hurt my heartstrings a bit. But at the same time, I'm like, I know it's happening. It has to happen.
Yeah, I feel like.
And Malacia, I don't really care about, to be perfectly honest.
Even Anthony, I don't care about.
Same with Anthony. I hope they have great careers, but there's no space. There's no space for them, man.
I mean, I'm glad Anthony is doing well. Hopefully, we can get 30 million for him one way or the other.
You think Real Betis can afford that?
I don't think Real Betis, but maybe some other club in La Liga.
If he does well in La Liga or does well in Europe, he's what, 24? He's a 24-year-old player who, for all the carnage around him, was sick at Ajax. Good at Ajax and has had back-to-back man-of-the-match performances for Betis. Like, there is a player in there that a team will like. It's just not a team like Manchester United.
Hopefully it's not us. Even if he scores every week, I don't think he's the right player for us.
This is what I mean. I think he's going.
Yeah.
So he's the one who doesn't have a
buy option.
A buy option or a purchase option obligation or anything, but he's going.
Yeah, he is. He has to, especially with these World Cup.
And it's just about who replaces them. Like I've put Quenda up on the screen. We're looking at him. Apparently, it does feel like kind of that's just something that is going to happen as well. Yeah. I don't know why, but it's just all the reports make it seem like.
I think the Ornstein report pretty much
it's like because Jorge Mendes is putting our entire his entire client list on our club again. Him being one of them, Ugarte, Yoro, all of these guys. And then it's about who else, like striker. Who else? If we're not looking for anyone over the age of 26, is it Liam Delap?
Actually, I never heard that article that you mentioned.
It literally came out a couple hours ago.
Yeah. So Athletic said that.
So Athletic are being like, United don't want to target players over the age of 26. And was it just striker?
Just striker.
Or was it in general?
I think they said in general though, just for players. The article was focused on striker, but they used the word player specifically. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that kind of ruled out Gyökeres, Osimhen.
Because they're 26, both of them, isn't it?
Yeah. I would have loved Osimhen to be fair.
But they're 26 and some change, isn't it? They're not like 27, but they're both 20s. But Gyökeres is actually older than Osimhen. I didn't even realise that.
The thing is, even 26 isn't old though. He could still give us a really solid 7 years. And then maybe he declines.
Yeah, but then it's you're spending 65 million on him.
On a player if he gives you 7 years, I feel like that's a valid price. 6 years, 7 years. 7 is a bit too much, but even 6 years, he's 26, he declines by the time he's 32. That's still a good amount.
It would be a sick player to have in if he was to be as good at here as he has been at Sporting. But I'm
talking about Osimhen right now.
Oh, you're talking about Osimhen. Sorry.
I'd prefer him over Gyökeres.
I like. I've said before in the podcast. I do really like Osimhen. Because I was about to make the argument that I can see why United wouldn't pay for Gyökeres purely just because there is a certain level of uncertainty, and I don't think that uncertainty exists with Osimhen. Yeah. I do think he is a great striker.
And he is available in the summer too.
But the challenge is
62 mil.
His agent fees is probably going to blow Gyökeres' agent fees out the water, hypothetically speaking. Yeah. His wages is probably 3 times the amount Gyökeres is right now. How much is he going to want when he comes to United versus what Gyökeres will want? So I think there's going to be there could, even though on paper the values may seem similar, there could be a difference of probably
that's probably why United maybe don't want either of them.
Yeah.
Which is why, I know I just keep saying Liam Delap. This is also because I am just a massive fan of Liam Delap.
But that's the thing.
I think he's a fantastic striker, but he is 21.
Man United has got dividends from their strikers, from their experienced ones. Not from the youngsters.
I agree.
Yeah.
Well,
and obviously Rasmus Højlund and Zirkzee is not paying dividends, but where we had Ronaldo, where we had
Ibrahimovic,
Cavani.
that's where, you know, they took on the responsibility, that mantle of saying, like we need the striker position, the goalkeeper position. These are key areas where you need strong mentality. You need expertise there. And obviously we let DDG go. That's just down another. But in the forward position, I don't know why we're going after under, because Delap could equally be a good player, come to Manchester United and the shirt is too heavy. We need someone that's got a bit of a mentality that can say, do you know, I know this is heavy, but I'm going to do what I do.
I agree. I constantly half-jokingly say Chris Wood. but I say it and I'm partly doing it just because just the idea of it is hilarious. But someone, maybe not specifically Chris Wood, but someone like that. I do agree.
Osimhen, I think he is the answer. We have young strikers. Højlund's young, Zirkzee is young. We have Chiro coming up. He's 17? So it's not like we need young strikers. I feel like this squad is begging for an experienced striker who's hitting his prime, who's scoring goals regularly, who's like more of a certainty to do well. Even though like you never know for 100% if Osimhen is going to do well, but you're more like sure he will compared to, let's say, a Delap or any other young striker you're bringing in.
Yeah, and that's the thing. So who are the guys available? Gyökeres, Osimhen, like we've mentioned.
Sesko, but he's still young.
There, but he's still young. He feels like a project. Even like Tell, he could still be on the shop window. There's rumours that, you know, we're still linked to.
Yeah, and he's 19.
He's 19.
He's the youngest of the lot.
Again, he's a project, and he 60 million euros. Tottenham was offering for him. It's not a small bit of change. It's a lot of money, and he doesn't strike me as someone, and I could be totally wrong, but he doesn't strike me as someone that's going to come into the league, lead the line for Manchester United, because we're a special case. Do you know what I mean? And a lot of the players that we bring in, just like a lot of the managers that we bring in, is not necessarily that they're bad coaches or bad players. It's just that at Manchester United, it's just a different pressure. It's a different weight of shirt. And when I hear guys like Delap, when I hear guys like Sesko, I just worry because a lot of the players that we're bringing in now are projects, but we don't have the patience as a fan base, or even it seems from the hierarchy nowadays, from what they made with, you know, with their sackings, that they're going to have the patience either to support and back these projects.
I would actually argue that when we touch on the sackings thing now, I would actually argue that actually shows the opposite, that they're making these decisions now, these decisions which are short-term, hurting the club, or, you know, like getting rid of like 350, 400 staff members, because that therefore means in 2-3 years' time it's going to work. So there was an article from The Guardian, Jamie Jackson came out yesterday. So Sir Jim Ratcliffe believes his decision to cut more than about 200 more jobs at United is necessary to help the club avoid going bust. It's said that he feels he has little choice other than to take these tough measures after the club lost 300 million in 3 years. And United insiders said the club would have run out of cash without the 240 million that he put into the club. And where's the last bit? Ratcliffe understands his decisions are unpopular, but feels there's a lack of awareness outside the club regarding the full picture, and that he feels these decisions that are being made now will help the club become better at challenging in 2 years' time. So after all this stuff has come out about Ratcliffe and all the decisions made, and they are like, I feel completely for all the people that are getting sacked, but it's a consequence of United being terribly run for 10 years. Like, why the hell do we have 1,150 staff members? If when Arsenal have 500, City have 550, Liverpool have 750, Chelsea just are hiring everyone on the planet, either in every single capacity, and their owner is buying all the sports clubs in the world. Even they don't have over 1,000 staff members. So I get it. Like, the club is bleeding. The club is like, if we lost £300 million, the club's borderline hemorrhaging money at the moment. And these are decisions that need to be made in order to get the club back into some sort of stable footing. They're not fun decisions. They're horrible decisions to see and have to make. And it does kind of suck the fun out of supporting the club for the short term. But I would argue, because at least Sir Jim Ratcliffe has said, this is just obviously from the report, that they are, in theory, in the best long-term interests of the club. Yeah.
I do get why Manchester United will have more staff members in that sense, because like Manchester United historically, it's just been a massive club, and therefore we've just got more. I don't know. I just think it would associate with more positions being available. It's not like to say Manchester United hasn't been dominating over the past 10, 15, 20 years where these things weren't a thing. They're just a big organisation, a big corporation, a big massive entity compared to your typical club. So I'm not surprised that they have a bigger staffing structure than the likes of City, who's just come into force now with whatever money they're using and however revenues they're bringing in. So, but I do agree with you in the sense where INEOS are looking to the long term and they are sort of making the cuts across the board. And it's not just about, we even saw it with the whole own hierarchy. It's not even like to say it's just players or it's just normal stuff. Look, they cut off Sir Alex Ferguson. They cut off, is it Jackie Harris? One of the long-standing sort of staff members. Anyway.
Jackie K.
Just did that
Jackie
recently,
K.
yeah.
Yeah. She was Andy Cole, you know, salaries reduced. Irwin's salaries reduced. It's literally across the board. And if you're looking at Christmas parties and, you know, that was sort of cut short and all of these fancy hotels, everything is being cut and I do get it. But they're not scared to make a decision. They're not scared with Ashworth. They're not scared to make a decision. And if they suddenly wake up and say, Amorim, we made a mistake. Like, it's not necessarily that they're going to stick by him. If they can wake up tomorrow and say, I think we made a mistake here, you know.
I think what they shot themselves, because most of the decisions they've made, not necessarily the best like decisions to hear about, but they might be the right decisions, but they shot themselves in the foot by keeping Ten Hag and the whole Ashworth thing. Because it's like, you've made so many little decisions which are probably the like financially correct ones to gain, like have all these little financial gains which then add up for a bigger thing. And then you keep Ten Hag and then have to spend 10 million sacking him, and then you do the whole Ashworth thing where you pay 3 million to bring him in and then sack him after 5 months and have to give him another like 3 or 4 million, which just takes it all away.
Yep, and
that's where I think the really sour point comes, is that you've made all these little gains with all these little minor, like I say, they're not minor decisions. Sorry, they're like the decisions, the smaller scale decisions, and then you then have. And you lose everything you've gained, but with 2 really, really shit big decisions.
And also they increased the ticket prices as well, which really ticked off a lot of fans. Even that put a real sour taste. They're like, the fans are hurting, the normal employees hurting, but they're making decisions like the Ten Hag one, Ashford one. So it's kind of like a combination of everything which makes these redundancies, even though I feel like they are needed, like it just leaves a sour taste on everyone. They're like, really, like, do we need to do that when you're making decisions like this? Like, I do get that.
Look, it just goes to show, like you said, how poorly we've been run and how we're trying to fix things. And when you're trying to fix things and when you're making these big changes, when you're trying to steer a tanker like Manchester United back on course, not everything's going to be rosy. And this is part and parcel of it. And I think we all need to kind of understand that in order to get to the path that we're looking, we're going to have to make some of these horrible decisions. And it's going to shock a lot of people. And I'm happy, look, I'm happy for it because we've constantly had like people come into the club, like managers come into the club or whatever. And I just know that nothing ain't going to change with some of the players on the pitch. Nothing ain't going to change with certain things that is being run. And only up until Erik ten Hag, I noticed certain power dynamics shifting. You know, even down to Mourinho, things with, you know, the whole Pogba thing. It's only with Erik ten Hag and Ronaldo, I thought, oh, this is interesting. Let me see how this plays out. And now with Amorim, you know, Rashford, people would never expect that.
Yeah.
So I feel like the board has to give you the authority to allow you to do that. So if the board and Amorim are in tandem with each other and they're in agreement with each other, and we've brought in specialists as well that can help with those decision making. I think we're at the beginning. You know how we've gone like, what's it, 10, 13 years or whatever without winning Premier League or without winning any something major. I think that with the board coming in, I think we're starting from scratch. But the fans feel like
it's a continuation of what's already happened.
It's not. This is day one. So like how you had Liverpool going 30 years without winning anything, this is our day one. So we've got a lot Like where you're seeing the little players, the young players coming in, the, you know, the properly sourced players, they're being integrated in the team. Look, you're going to start seeing that over the next few years. This is what Arsenal did, got rid of Aubameyang, got rid of all of these Ozils and started the refresh and the stadium and all of that stuff being built. That's Manchester United's path now. We're like 5 years maybe behind that, and then before we start getting to a point where we're consistently in top 4 before, because right now our decision making is only bringing about short-term successes, short-term wins. Oh, we'll bring in
as in like in the last 10 years.
Yeah, in the last 10 years. Even with Fergie left like that. Oh, let me bring in Henrik Larsson. Let me bring in
Van Persie.
Van Persie.
Yeah.
Do you know, let me bring in all of these guys, and it worked. And we've been doing that with the strikers that we've mentioned. We've been doing it with the players where they're all like at the end of their tether, they've still got a bit of quality in the Ibrahimovics, the Cavani's, the Ronaldos of more recent. Now we're like, you know what? There's an age policy now. We want guys under the age of 26. We want to think about the future now, not just the pressure from the fans and everyone else thinking we're still Man United of yesterday to go and win stuff. We're going to forget all of that, and we're going to hopefully, I'm hoping, that Amarim's still sticking around. Hopefully, the players are actually given time to develop and do their thing. Otherwise, it's just pointless. It's really going to be pointless.
I mean, I don't see Amarim going anytime soon. Even like you talk about this, even Amarim himself is 40. Like he's 15, 14 years younger than Erik ten Hag. So like even with that decision, it's and like Jason Wilcox isn't the oldest man in the world as well. Like, it's even like everyone we're hiring is like not exactly. They're not veterans of the game by any means.
Definitely. It's a fresh new look.
Yeah. I mean, they have got the whole Project 2028. That's what INEOS have in mind for us to win the Premier League, whether that happens.
What was it called? They called it
Project 28 or something like that.
But isn't the overall project actually called like, it's called like Project 100, Project 150 or something? It's like 150 years since it. It's like there's like Project 21, which is winning the Premier League, Project 1, which is winning the first WSL, and then they both incorporate into Project 150, which is winning trophies for the club's 150th anniversary.
Oh wow!
So it's something like that.
Yeah.
But it's all got loads of flowers and dandy roses and everything. Meanwhile, we're sat here losing to Brighton, Bournemouth, and everyone else, and then Nan at home. The home form's a whole. You know, I'm not going to actually dive into that.
Painful.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna say that pretty much wraps up the podcast. I think we're pretty much out of time. But thank you so much, both of you, for coming down. You guys, if you made it all the way here, thank you so much for listening. Let us know what you think about everything we've talked about the age thing with respect to the new strikers and everything, how we should play against Spurs. What do you make of the Ratcliffe decisions? Do you think he's wrong? Do you think it's just unfortunate that he's the guy that's got to make these? All the social links for everybody in the comments below. Make sure you leave a comment, make sure you like and subscribe to United View, and we'll see you next week.